This is Yuck Mother. You should subscribe to Yuck Mother. She commands that you do so. Every moment of existence involves new challenges. We cannot expect these to conform entirely to our prescriptions of reality. Patterns we've set out are and can only be based on what has happened. Thus, they should not be relied on too heavily to discover what will happen. In essence, we don't know everything. In fact, we know very little about the world around us. Here's a few points about Indigenous American thinking. First, we must understand why this is an important topic to talk about. It's very easy to sit back and rely on the systems you know best. Humans tend to prefer the status quo over anything new. We need to step out beyond our comfort zones and think in an entirely new way. If we rely on the same processes of understanding our surroundings that we have always had, then we will come again and again to the same conclusions. I'm assuming that you, like most people who would be watching an English language video on YouTube, have been educated and spent your life looking through a distinctly Western lens. You've been raised to accept certain processes of thought structure as fact. I am presenting this video in the hopes that you might consider an alternative. Before I get too far into this, I want to clarify that I'm speaking in very general terms. What is presented in this video does not represent all Western, nor does it represent all Indigenous views. Nor are these the only two ways to make sense of the world. Many of the ideas I'm presenting come from Rupert Ross's text, Returning to the Teachings, Exploring Aboriginal Justice. I would recommend you go check it out. Link in the description to get it. We can observe traditional Native American thought by the way of its differences with its Western counterpart. Namely, differences in these three categories: the individual and its relations, social hierarchy, and the efficacy of human knowledge. First, we will discuss the individual, a prized possession of Western thought. The individual can be considered independent in this view. Each person is examined as a single unit, separated from their surroundings. This concept is also present in Western science, which focuses study on understanding ideas, objects, or organisms in isolation. We think of everything as independent cells from this approach. Much more important to the field of Aboriginal thought is the concept of the relation, a link between multiple things. The world, then, is not thought of as a collection of independent cells wandering about, but is instead a web which connects all the things within it. A person, by the general Native American view, is no more than their relation to the other people and the world. Science is also bound by this understanding that nothing can be fully understood on its own merits. Instead, it must be seen in relation to its surroundings and links to other things. The next topic of discussion is the place of social hierarchy, a concept which sits at the core of Western understanding. Again, Western thought functions around this understanding that some people must be better than other people. Western thinkers have spent centuries refining systems by which the detriments of hierarchy can be overcome. Perhaps it can be said that this has been the central point of debate in Western thought. Checks and balances, minority rights, individual freedoms, these are all ideas which stem from the attempt to remedy the malpractices of social hierarchy. Here, the Aboriginal view spends no time remedying these issues of abusive power, because they're simply not present in the society which wholesale rejects hierarchy. It is understood that people have unique gifts. No single leader can be inherently better than another person, only different from them. Leaders emerge depending on the issue at hand. If one person has a special talent in an issue, they may provide leadership on it, as the situation requires. One person is not inherently above another. Leadership is temporary and issue-based. Next, we come to our final topic, the efficacy of human knowledge as a whole. There's a certain confidence which comes from the Western view here. This confidence proclaims that true understanding has been reached and that humans must and will conquer all. We terraform the world around us and deface nature. We have decided that it is better that humans take control, as we, by this view, know everything. The native system of understanding exists beyond this. Reverence for the power of the world and the inconsequential nature of humans in it is in place here. This understanding recognizes that humans ought to always doubt their own proclamations, that full knowledge is impossible, and that we, humans, at the end of the day, understand very little. It is only a fool who calls himself the master of anything. With that, our study of Native American thought ends. There is so much more to talk about on this topic, but I don't have the time to address it all in this video. If you want more videos on Aboriginal thought, be sure to recommend that in the comments. Otherwise, subscribe for more educational videos from Yuck Mother. Thank you for watching. Yuck Mother thanks you very much. Yuck Mother out.